Again, thank you everyone for attending. I'm Lisa Crew, Director of Product Marketing at Akorri. So the objective of today's presentation is to really give you a sense for why you should be adding a virtual infrastructure performance management solution like Akorri BalancePoint to enhance your existing VMware virtual infrastructure. So as we all know, virtualization is the hottest topic in IT today, and it's really growing. According to this research from Forrester, the majority of the respondents, which are about 60%, have between 10 and 50% of their servers virtualized today, and that's rapidly growing. And I've seen other reports that pretty much state the penetration is about 20 to 30% overall. But the trend line here really tells the story most effectively. The line representing 2011 has its peak farther to the right of 2009, which shows a strong movement to more virtualization is underway. To set the stage, let's talk about where we are in the evolution of virtualization and how management challenges caused by server virtualization are also evolving. So based on our experiences here at Akorri, we see that organizations typically advance through 3 stages of virtualization. The first stage, shown here, is characterized by virtualizing the low-hanging fruit applications. Typically, consolidation and disaster recovery strategies are initially focused on to get those CapEx savings from virtualizing the applications that have low business impact, like print and file servers, or the test and dev environment. And a lot of people are focused on, which hardware should I choose, server hardware, what's the right storage, that kind of thing. The second stage is when people start to realize that management is really important. And this is where a lot of organizations are today. There's a lot of complexity created because of all the abstraction layers with virtualization. In addition, a lot of CIOs now have a virtualization first policy requiring IT to virtualize, any new application that they bring in-house for the cost benefits. But a lot of IT folks are concerned about how to maintain high service levels and how to prove to the application owners that they're going to deliver optimal application performance. Or the business owners are saying, I don't want you to virtualize because I'm afraid you're not going to provide me that level of service. In this stage, organizations may have started to use their IT resources, including applications, servers, storage, and networks, as pools of resources that can be managed in aggregate rather than isolated silos. And thinking about IT resources as an entire system becomes really important for fully leveraging the power of virtualization. It also allows IT to move resources on demand to efficiently balance different loads and use capacity more effectively. So the issue of performance really requires attention at this stage. And many organizations may have experienced unexpected poor performance in stage 1, and they know that if they're going to virtualize, their business critical applications like, Citrix, SharePoint, email, that they're going to need something that manages that infrastructure performance to assure acceptable service levels. So in stage 3, the typical characterization is that there's a transformation in which virtualized resources shift, become a pool that's managed at the pool level. This allows workloads from different business units to become fluid, and at this point, infrastructure is shared, and IT really must embrace a service management focus to eventually deliver on a private cloud, which a lot of organizations are thinking about today. And in that instance, physical and logical resources are made available through a virtual service layer across the enterprise. Today, most virtualization management tools were designed for less demanding applications, and they're typically focused or limited to one infrastructure tier, for example, just the virtual servers. But now we need to augment both capacity and performance and service level management in order to convince the application owners that the virtual infrastructure is as reliable and behaves as predictably as the physical infrastructure did. And so what that requires is managing all of the pieces of the infrastructure together, both virtual and physical, along with the servers and the storage. In fact, as you can see from this poll from IDG, the need to manage complex virtual and physical infrastructure is the top challenge in managing people's virtual infrastructure. And further, from an operational perspective, virtualization introduces capacity management challenges. And you can see from this poll done by Forrester that capacity management really becomes very difficult, a mystery to some, because by abstracting the virtual servers from the raw physical hardware, the actual resource requirements become ambiguous. And this introduces confusion and risk around the performance and stability of workloads that were intended for virtual servers. So as a result, many workloads remain on physical servers because the team may feel that the risk is too high. So if you recall back in the mainframe days, capacity management was usually done by a few people in the back room. And thanks to virtualization, it has become really important. From Akorri's perspective, it really needs to be simplified and automated so the sysadmin can do the capacity management tasks without having to build a complex model. So unless you work at a really big organization, the job of capacity management typically falls on the system administrator. And as I mentioned, Akorri feels that it really should be simplified and automated, and that's what we hope to help you with BalancePoint. So what's required to meet these performance and capacity management challenges I've talked about? Well, in our view, infrastructure performance management addresses these key concerns. So first, it should provide cross-domain visibility. And what I mean by that is the ability to see all the pieces in your infrastructure from the virtual servers to the physical servers all the way down through the different storage tiers and deliver that in performance and capacity management data. It should also provide server to spindle dependency mappings because storage performance is really integral to and inseparable from virtual server performance. It should also help define key performance indicators for end-to-end infrastructure because you're not going to be able to really manage performance with just CPU and memory statistics. But without a way to interpret all the data that you have, you'll end up spending a ton of time manually correlating spreadsheets. So what you need is an automated tool that produces cross-domain analytics and metrics that you can use and that the whole IT operations team can use as a common language to manage performance. The solution should also address capacity planning with an infrastructure level view to help balance both sides of the server storage optimization equation and avoid over-provisioning on either side. And finally, it should have a service level focus and enable reporting on performance in terms that can be easily related to business demands and service level agreements. So why can't you do that with vCenter that you probably already have as a result of buying VMware? Well, most companies that we've talked to that have gotten past that first stage of virtualization realize that vCenter alone doesn't assure performance of mission-critical applications. For example, Exchange, SQL, SAP. That's really where you need an infrastructure performance management solution. So for the purposes of this presentation, I'm going to focus on the performance and capacity capabilities in vCenter Server, capacity